Hey, what's going on, guys? Just going to be talking about how Safemoon could have exploded if it had done something, if it had had the right tokenomics. And so any of you guys that watch me crypto control during the time of Safemoon, you knew that one of the things that I talked about was the tokenomics. We went over the liquidity, we went over the reflections, we went kind of a deep dive on my channel into how tokenomics work, what the volume would look like. We went into swap and evolve, swap and liquefy, always kind of breaking those things down. And so a lot of us were new to crypto during the time of Safemoon. This is kind of why a lot of us were just first learning out about a lot of these things. But when I was watching what was happening with crypto, I realized a couple things. And that the number one problem of why a project fails is due to whale dominance. Yeah, that's not going to work. Oh, crap. So if we're looking at the chart and we realize that the problem was whale dominance, then you're going to be able to see that what prevented the charts from being able to go up was the whales. And so every time you looked at these little humps right here, you'd see that the Safemoon army were getting hype and they were buying, and the whales basically just kept selling down the charts, and they wouldn't really allow us to go on another run. And so during my time at Safemoon, I realized a couple things. One of those things is that this is not working, so I'll just have to wing this. So if you look at the chart right here, then you can see that the problem that we were all dealing with was whale dominance. That's what I was saying. And so the reflections would only make that even stronger. So what causes a project to not be able to grow is after these whales take profit, then the project dies. And so there's nothing left to look forward, and it's very hard to get that momentum again. As you can see right around here, it's very hard to get that momentum after that initial rise up and then the sell-off. Very hard to get momentum again. And so reflections was actually making the whales even stronger. The whales were getting the most reflections, and everybody's rewards or reflections were attached to the value of the price. So when the whales sold down the price, the value of your reflections went down with it. And so we are all attached to a pyramid structure, and the people at the top benefit the most. And when they take their profits, it negatively impacts everybody. And so what we realized is that when Evergrow came out, when they did Stablecoin instead of reflections, it changed everything. I don't think people realize like how game-changing it is to reward in a stablecoin as opposed to reflections. Because if we were all during the time of Safemoon getting stablecoin, then we all would have gotten preserved value. The value of our rewards would not have gone down when the whale sold. And so if Safemoon had shifted to stablecoin, it would have rewarded the holders on a much bigger way. It's not rewarding the holders in a much bigger way. It is usually the only people who win are the people at the top, the whales, who sell. And when they sell, they devalue everybody else's value. That's like super important to understand that. I know it's simple, but don't forget that. When you sell as a whale, you devalue everybody else's value they're getting. Well, the idea of a tax, like Safemoon had the 10% tax, is a really cool idea. But if you reward in the same token as the people at the top, it gives them a ton of more tokens than they had, and then it makes them even stronger when it comes to the sell pressure that they have. So, we didn't know any better because we're all new to DeFi. Reflections sounded really cool, sounded like passive income. If the price goes up enough and there's enough volume, maybe we'll all get money. But what the number one reason why projects fail or can't grow or stop growing is because of whale dominance. And the way to balance that is to not incentivize them to destroy the project. So you have the tax, and so everybody was getting Safemoon. But if they had switched it to stablecoin, then everybody would have gotten value. What that means is that not only the people at the top, the whales who are selling, would have gotten value out of the project. It means that everybody would have gotten stablecoin. It would shift the project from only the sellers winning to everybody winning because of getting that real value in stablecoin. That's why doing a tax it's like the step in the right direction, but it actually is really bad if you reflect in the same token. But if you switch it to a stable coin, now you've created a bunch of winners. Like everybody's getting value out instead of just the people who destroy the project, who sell. And another thing that I realized at my time at Safemoon is that there's a pyramid structure happening with the liquidity pool, and like haven't really heard anybody else talk about this. The liquidity pool operates like a pyramid scheme. You attach a narrative or a story, whatever that is. You can put anything in there, memes, utilities, whatever it is. People believe it, and so they buy. And when they buy, they increase the value of the liquidity pool, and that makes the people at the top rich. They're the ones who benefit, and they sell. And then everybody who bought into this idea has bought into something that has lost them money. So the liquidity pool operates like that. And I don't think I've ever heard of anybody talking about what the liquidity pool actually incentivizes. And it's not hard. It's very simple. But what you need with the liquidity pool is you need a ton of people to get in after you, all right here, so that you can sell on them before all the other whales do. That's what's happening right here. Somebody sold before all the other whales do, and then it went back up, and then these whales sold, and then it went back up, and then all these whales sold. It's not even just the people at the top of a project that win, but it's only the sellers at the top of the project that win. And so that's really simple, right? But why am I saying that? It's because once you understand why the whales are incentivized and rewarded for destroying the project, all these people who sold, they were not punished. They took out the most value out of the project, and they stopped the project from being able to grow beyond these all-time high points. They were rewarded 100% for it. And there was no downside to them taking the profit. And what that means is the game of the liquidity pool has the death of the project built into it, because it's basically saying, hey, whoever takes the most value out of me, I'm going to give the most value to you. And whoever doesn't, you're going to be punished. All the whales who didn't sell at these high points, you were punished for not being the people to destroy the project. And people are trying to build long-lasting projects on top of a pyramid scheme that rewards the people who destroy the project. Do you see how simple that is? But yet you probably haven't quite heard it worded that way. You've understood that idea, but you haven't quite heard it worded that way. And so there's a really important aspect here that when you start to combine these ideas, then you'll be able to fix all of these problems and provide what Safemoon was trying and promising through reflections. Reflections did not work because the value was attached to the liquidity pool. So when the whale sold, it devalued everybody's reflections by 90%. Greatly devalued everyone's reflections, and the whales were getting the most reflections to begin with. It empowered the whales who were being incentivized by the liquidity pool to destroy the project. I really hope if anybody who watches that, you could see how clear as day as that is. And so how do you counter the negative incentives of the liquidity pool and still provide these rewards that are benefiting more than just the people that are selling down the project? That's what Safemoon was. It benefited only the people who sold the project. All the whales who held, all the people who bought all these dips that were exit liquidity, everybody lost except for the people who sold the project. And what we can do is with one stone, we can kill all these birds with one stone if you know what you're doing. Stablecoin is the answer. Instead of doing reflections, if Safemoon had switched to stablecoin, then everybody would have gotten those rewards. Everybody would have gotten all the value that you got in Safemoon would not have gone down when the whale sold, whether it be hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, or tens of thousands of dollars. The whales wouldn't have been able to negatively impact the value that everybody was getting. And what that does is it creates winners out of everybody instead of just the sellers. Just by shifting to stablecoin, that one small change does that big of an impact on benefiting more than just the people at the top. Because if you reward everybody with value that's attached to the pyramid structure or the liquidity pool, it's not real value, and it's value that's going to be drained from you. When the whales sold, they were taking from everybody's vet bags and everybody's rewards. They took all that value and were like, hey, thanks for that when they sold, as you can see on the chart. And so that's something that I realized as I was covering. I'm like, man, these whales, they won't let the price go, and they're getting the most reflections. And then I found Evergrow, and I was like, oh, Evergrow is amazing because they have these stablecoin rewards. And so the stablecoin rewards create a bunch of winners other than just the sellers. And so if Safemoon had implemented something like this, it would have been a huge success in the sense that not only the people at the top selling would have won, but everybody else would have gotten their stablecoin rewards. But there's a way to make this even better and address the problem of whale dominance that stops projects from being able to grow. And that's what I've found and what I've implemented into my own project that I'm launching in a couple weeks, which is why I'm doing the stream, to try to reach out to people who used to know about me and give you an opportunity to understand that I didn't just say, oh, I want to do a project and I hope it does well. I actually utilized what I understood about tokenomics, about reflections, about stablecoin rewards, and implemented it in a way to try to address the number one problem of what causes projects to not be able to grow, and to do it in a way that benefits more people than just the people selling at the top. And so what you're going to find is not just switching it to stablecoin does it help make more winners. That is an awesome move. But say you did switch it to stablecoin, right? Let's just say hypothetically Safemoon, when it launched, had stablecoin during all this volume. What that would mean is all the whales getting their volume would be getting stablecoin. And the good thing about that is if they want to increase their position, they have to buy. They have to buy to increase their position to get more Safemoon. Or they can just keep their stablecoin rewards. The problem is the whales are still getting the most stablecoin. And so they can get their stablecoin, and if volume dies down a little bit, they can sell. They got all their stablecoin rewards, and they sold. Once again, you're stuck with the project where the price goes down, and there's nothing left to look forward to. And so this is where I just came up with an idea of how to solve the problem of whale dominance, of how to create something real to look forward to, and how to benefit more people, and to pull away from the people that destroy a project and to give to the people who help keep it alive. Everybody who helped keep Safemoon alive, you were punished severely, like to the uttermost were you punished for keeping Safemoon alive. Everybody buying all these dips and supporting it all the way down, you lost all the value, while the people who weren't doing anything just kept selling it down on you. And so you were punished, and the people who destroyed the project, they were rewarded with all the value. And so how you take this to the next level, where you address the number one problem of what causes projects to fail, which is whale dominance, is, for one, you have to increase the tax. You need a higher sell tax and you need a higher buy tax, so that the stablecoin rewards that's going to everybody is a lot. It's not just a little bit, it's a lot. And so with my project, I do increase those rewards. But the most important factor is you have to delay it. I'm just going to put a D. Delay. You have to delay those rewards. And what that does, now look at this chart. What that does is everybody's rewards are in the future. At Control Token, it's 6 months and 12 months where most of your rewards are. This is only a couple months. They didn't even make it that long here, where most of the volume for Safemoon was happening. Most of the volume for a high reward project happens usually within like 3 to 4 months. It usually doesn't last longer than that, and even that is kind of a long time. But if we had done stablecoin and everybody's value is preserved, but everybody's value is in the future, what that does is it means that everybody who leaves before the 6 month reward, like here, all these sellers right here would be forfeiting all of the rewards that they would have gotten. Instead of getting them back here, getting all those reflections or getting all that stablecoin, you guys know that Safemoon Whale was getting $10,000 a day in Safemoon reflections, and he wasn't even the biggest whale of Safemoon. There's whales bigger than him. It's a lot of value. It's potentially hundreds of thousands to potentially even millions of dollars over a longer period of time of rewards that's happening. And so we're preserving all of those rewards, but if you delay it, then they have to make it to this point in the future to get those rewards. If Safemoon had implemented something like this, it would have succeeded on this alone. And so what that means is, if you're all these whales who sold, not only did they say when they went to sell, they'd say, hey, all my rewards are in the future, right? And those rewards can only go up. Whether buys or sells are happening, those rewards cannot go down. They can only go up. It's value in the future that cannot go down. I can't stress how important it is to understand that the liquidity pool, the price can go like this. It can go crazy up and down. But these rewards, because they're being preserved in stablecoin, they cannot go down. 13% of all buys, 18% of all sells being converted into stablecoin, and all your rewards, everybody's rewards, you get them on a monthly, but it's a small amount. It's only 2%. Most of your rewards are at the 6-month event and the 12-month event, these big reward events. And when people talk about events to look forward to, if you look at Safemoon, we had the exchange, the blockchain, the birthday, the release of the wallet, announcements, listings. We were looking towards some type of event that we then hoped would cause people to buy, that we then hoped would cause us to be able to reach a selling point. You see all those steps that are involved in hoping in an event that causes value to happen that you might have a chance to get. But by shifting the most powerful part of what causes a project to grow, which is people believing in the project, is through attacks into the future, we're shifting real value in a real way into the future to give something real to look forward to. It's not potential value that you might get if you sell. It's real value that everybody gets through staking or through holding. And so when anybody goes to sell, if Safemoon had a structure like this, they would have had to say, I'm going to forfeit all of my rewards that I would have gotten, and those rewards can only go up for the rest of the year. All of the time between now and then, these rewards can only go up. And I'm going to pay a 20% tax into those rewards. My thinking on this is, why should the whales at Safemoon, why should they get $1 million when they sell, or $100,000? And then we're all left with a project that's like severely damaged. There is no positive to the sales that are happening. Well, what if you took 20% of what their sell was and you gave it back to the people that are left behind in stablecoin rewards into the future? You don't give it back immediately, because if you give it back immediately, then people will just sell, get their rewards, and then sell. It must be delayed into the future. Delayed stablecoin rewards counters the negative incentives of the LP, because the liquidity pool says, hey, whoever pulls the most value out of me, I'm going to give you the most value out. I want you to. I'm going to reward you for doing it. But these rewards say, hey, whoever has the most tokens is going to get the most rewards in the future. And everybody who leaves the project would be forfeiting all of their rewards to everybody in the future, and they'd be paying into those rewards, which obviously, if you're a whale, it's a lot. It's a lot of value going to the future, and when you leave, you pay into that value. So through the use of watching of what happened with Safemoon, of why it didn't work, of why reflections were amplifying the power of the whales who were keeping the project from being able to grow, and all the narratives that we believe, from the blockchain to the exchange to Operation Phoenix to the Gambia, everything that we thought that we were all buying the dips on and getting excited about was just false ideas that were benefiting the people at the top who kept selling down on us. And we were all left with nothing. Like, we lost. Many people lost hundreds of thousands, millions. Most of us lost a lot of money on Safemoon. But with a structure like this, you would have been getting all your Safemoon and stablecoin rewards. That's worst case scenario. That's what the other thing about this design is. This is worst case scenario. Let's say all this happens, all the people who left, they forfeited all their rewards to everybody who's left, and they paid a fifth of what they would have gotten. A fifth of everything being sold would be going to everybody left. If it's $20 million, then it'd be $4 million. For every $20 million that's being sold would be going towards these rewards. And obviously a lot more than that was sold in Safemoon. It would have been a ton of value, because it's not just what's being sold, but it's also the fact that they're leaving, they're giving up the rewards that they would get. Because everybody's rewards is in the future, everyone who leaves the project gives up those rewards to everybody else, and they pay into them on the way out in a very significant and impactful way. It's not 1% or 2% or 3% or 5%. Because if you have 1%, 2%, 3%, 5%, or even 10%, you have 90% on the other side that's going into the liquidity pool. But because we have 15% on buy and we have 20% on sell, it's a lot of value that would be, everybody who buys is paying into those future rewards. Everybody who leaves is paying into these rewards, and they're forfeiting their rewards. And so what these rewards do is they say, hey, I'm going to counter the negative sentiments of the liquidity pool. I'm going to reward the people who stay, and I'm going to incentivize the growth of the project. These rewards put a natural demand on the liquidity pool because they can't go down until they're distributed. The liquidity pool can go up and down and up and down and up and down. These rewards can't go down. At a certain point, the price will become so cheap, it can only go down so far before you make profit buying the token and staking it, because the rewards can only go up. The 6-month, the 12-month rewards, they only go up. So we got 2% going towards the monthly rewards. We've got 4% going to the 6-month. And so the 4% of volume builds up for 6 months, and then it goes to the people that are there that are staking at that point. Everybody who left, they forfeited all their rewards to you, and they get paid into those rewards on the way out. And then we have the control event, or the 12-month rewards, which is the highest tax. It's 6% of buys and 11% of sales of all volume that happened for an entire year going towards 12-month rewards. And so no matter what, the 6-month rewards will always be twice as big as the previous 6 months that happened before it, the 1-month rewards. But as the 6-month reward happens, it'll happen the same time as the 6 months. So you got your 1, 2 month, your 3 month, your 4 month, your 5th month, and then on your 6th month, you're going to have the 6-month rewards as well. And then you go all the way to the 12-month rewards, and you're going to have the 12th month, you're going to have the 12-month rewards, that 6% of buys and that 11% of sell volume being converted into stablecoin for an entire year built up. You're going to have the 6-month rewards the second time it happens. This is the first 6 months, this is the second 6 months. That's 4% that built up over the last 6 months. That's going to happen the same time as the last month rewards, the 12-month. So you have the 12-month rewards, the last 1-month rewards, and the second 6-month rewards happening at the same time. This is a ton of value that if you make it to the 12-month rewards, you're going to get that, and you have the option to sell your bag as well. You'll always have that option to sell your bag. And so what we do is what we're able to do to fix what went wrong with Safemoon, and to take what went right with Evergrow and to make it even better, and to create a structure where not just I don't want to create a project if it's just going to benefit people at the top and everybody else loses, and we have to convince a bunch of people to buy in so that only these people at the top are going to win. That's 99% of DeFi that's happening right now. It's a bunch of people that are scamming, rugging, and stealing your money. Those of you guys that watch with me with Safemoon, most of you guys, maybe there's some of you guys who still hate me because of how I talked about Safemoon, but I was right. I told you guys the truth. I did it for your sake, and I'm sorry if I didn't do it as respectfully as I could. I tried to be respectful, but I got a lot of flack back for not being positive about Safemoon. I tried to prioritize you over myself, and I did do that. I could have kept making money talking about Safemoon. I could have made a lot of money off of Safemoon if I launched a project when everybody loved me. I'm just not that kind of guy, or I'm not going to sacrifice the truth for money. And so you can see that my entire approach to this is, how do we make something that deals with the problem of why projects don't grow? If you look at how Safemoon started, and this is not me trying to crap on it, it was Kyle Nagy saying, how do I rug people? There wasn't any thought about how to help people or how to deal with why projects don't grow. There was no thought into reflections or how it's going to help people. If they had thought through reflections, they would have realized this is going to make the whales stronger, the whales are going to sell, and everybody else's reflections are going to be negatively impacted by it. I was completely new to DeFi, like a lot of you guys were, so it took quite a while for me to get to the point where I was able to see what was actually going on. And so what happened is whale dominance. If you remove bad actors, you remove the people that are giving themselves tokens, that are rugging projects, that's obviously a project's not going to be able to grow if you're stealing the liquidity, if you're rugging the liquidity, or if you're giving yourself free tokens. You have to remove all of that. And so with Control Token, we don't have any of that. We have this setup, the stablecoin, delayed stablecoin rewards in the future that provides real value that we can look forward to, that leaves you feeling safe about the future of the project, because you know the price might go up, the price might go down, but those rewards will never go down. And as long as, worst case scenario, I make it to those rewards, I will get that value. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is that value in the future incentivizes the growth of the liquidity pool. It causes people to be confident in the future growth because there's something there. There's like a safeguard against the negative possibilities of the liquidity pool. Everybody who's a whale and everybody who's in the project, you're like, oh crap, if I don't sell, if I wake up and there's a giant red candle, which is what happened if you look at the charts here, these massive sell-offs, these are huge sell-offs that happened. People woke up that day and your bags drastically dropped with all these red candles that happened. You don't have to worry about that as much. It still can happen, and yes, you can watch your bag value go down, but everybody who sold, they didn't get their rewards, their 6-month rewards and their 12-month rewards, which is where all their rewards were. And it creates a real buying opportunity, not just for the potential of the price to go up, but by buying this up, you're getting a larger portion of all these people who are leaving as rewards in the future. And there's only buys and sells. Whether buys and sells are happen, these permanent future rewards, they can only go up. The control event, the 6-month event, those can only get bigger and bigger. And after the control event, it'll happen again. If a big sell-off happens the first month after the 12-month rewards, it'll massively fuel that month rewards, the 6-month rewards, and the 12-month rewards for it to happen again. I'm going to read the chat real fast. We got Shaky FPV. What's going on, man? So glad I got out of this project and discovered XRP. Yeah, XRP, it's another one. I want you guys to realize that every project is built on top of a liquidity pool, and a liquidity pool is a pyramid. It works like a pyramid structure where whatever narrative you attach to it is only going to benefit mostly the people at the top and only the people who sell, who sell in profit. You could maybe make profit, but you're barely going to get any because it's only the people at the top. No matter what project you look at, the narrative is only going to benefit the people at the top. It is going to work like a pyramid structure unless you implement a design, a tax that converts it to stablecoin and gives it out to the people. And if you delay it, then by delaying rewards, you take it away from people who leave the project and you give it to the people who stay. And what you're doing is you're shifting value from the people that destroy a project to the people that stay. And what that does is it rewards and incentivizes, because without this structure, there is no reward or incentivization to not sell down the liquidity pool. That's why I say the liquidity pool says it's by design. It is failure by design. It is designed to get people all to be divided against each other. You have to get a ton of people to buy after you, and you have to sell before everybody else does. How can we be united in the future growth of a project if everybody's goal is to sell on each other on a bunch of people that get in after them? So by countering that, by shifting, using a tax, everybody's seeking the value that goes into the liquidity pool. That's what people are seeking. They're not seeking a utility. They're not seeking a narrative. They're seeking money. Everyone wants the money that's going into the liquidity pool. By using a tax, we can take the value that everybody is seeking. We can preserve it by converting to a stablecoin. We're preserving the value that everyone is seeking. And by shifting into the future, we can shift value that everyone is seeking into the future of the project, where even if the value that everyone is seeking in the liquidity pool goes down, you still have the value that everyone is seeking in the future that cannot go down because it's been preserved in a stable coin. Hey, what's up, True Dukul? What's up, Kazuma Kuryu? I feel like I was top of the world. Good morning, Crypto. Truth Hurts. What's up, man? Also, we haven't launched yet. We're going to be launching in 2 to 3 weeks. So right now is probably going to be one of the cheapest prices you can get. Everybody's getting the same price in the pre-sale. We're going to launch at whatever value you put in. So if you put $100 in, your tokens are going to say $100. And if anybody tries to come in and buy and sell, like you see with most pre-sales, they have to pay a buy tax, they have to forfeit their rewards, and they have to pay a sell tax. You can't really just come in and heavily manipulate something that has a 15% buy and a 20% sell. So it's going to be very hard to just abuse this project. And even if you do, you have to forfeit a ton of value to a project that's shifting a ton of value into the future, that's attracting a lot of long-term thinkers. People that come into this, they're thinking, okay, everyone's paying a tax to keep this project alive. That's what it is. Everybody pays a tax to keep the project alive because the tax goes to the people that keep the project alive. Really over a 6-month period and over a 12-month period. That's where people's rewards are really at. You have a good portion of your rewards in your 6 months, but you have most of everybody's rewards is going to be collected in the 12-month rewards. But you'll also have your monthly rewards just kind of as something to get you by. Listening to this, and he has no idea what he's talking about. Putting a 20% tax on a crypto will kill it from ever becoming actual currency because everything you buy has a 20% tax. Yeah, so Jeffrey, we're not talking about becoming a currency. A meme coin is not. The goal of a crypto is to not become a currency. That's the goal of some cryptos, is to try to become a currency. The goal of cryptos is for people to make money. And if you don't understand that, then yeah, none of crypto is going to make sense to you if you think that every meme coin, every utility project is trying to become a currency. So I never said anything about becoming a currency. What's up, Truth Hurts? How's it going, man? Big up for that, bro. What's up, Trutical? So hopefully you're not telling me that you got married in Vegas, then started $1 million crypto project and didn't get a prenup. Oh, no. That's funny, man. I love you too, bro. No, I didn't get a prenup. I have a very trustworthy woman. That's what irks me about people using the word community. Am I supposed to see my tokens right now? No, you're not. The tokens will be, you'll have to get those. You have to collect those at launch. Right now, you don't have your tokens. You'll be able to collect that when we launch. This is where I say, yeah, when you talk about community, you're talking about people being part of a community where everyone's trying to sell on top of each other as high as they can. And it's like, yeah, you can kind of be a community, but when it comes down to it, you're going to sell on everybody that you are pumping your project to, and you're going to try to sell before your buddies. You might have a couple buddies. You'd be like, hey, I'm about to sell, blah, blah, blah. Generally speaking, most people don't give a heads up before they sell. That's why I say control token, we're still going to be divided in the liquidity pool, but it's going to be to a much lesser degree. You know, you only have 85% of buys going into the liquidity pool, and you have 20% of everything being sold out of the liquidity pool. All of that's going towards the rewards in the future. And that's why I say we as a community, we will be divided in the liquidity pool in the terms of when it comes to selling. We can be united in the growth of the liquidity pool and trying to help it grow, but we're divided in when it comes to the selling of the liquidity pool. That's a very much more accurate way to say that, or clear way to say that. However, we can all be united in the future rewards of the project. We can be united in the control event, the 12-month event where you've got a moon vault that is going to have most of all that value is stored in the future. And so by storing it in the future, it allows us to be more confident in the future. It allows us to work together. I don't think I've ever seen a structure where people can be that way. Because if you build any project on top of a liquidity pool, it's a pyramid structure that people are like, oh crap, what if I don't sell? What if it does another 10x? I got to sell. Oh crap, they sold. I should sell. And you start to really all that is running the charts right now is what people expect it to go to and what people, the floor and the ceiling. It's the sentiment of what people feel like is too good of a price to buy, and it's the ceiling where people feel like it's too good of a price to not sell. That's all we're working with is sentiment. And so people are playing a game where they know, especially the experienced people, and everybody learns this, you buy when people are scared and you sell when people are bullish, right? When people are celebrating. So everybody's trying to counter each other when it comes to the psychology of these projects. I don't think I've ever seen a structure that, for one, it targets the number one reason why projects fail, which is whale dominance. They are given too much control. The reason it's called control is because my name's Crypto Control, but the other reason is that we're trying to take control away from the people who destroy projects, and we're trying to give that control to the people who keep it alive. And we are literally doing that by removing bad actors. I'm doxxed. I'm publicly doxxed to Vitrius. I'm publicly doxxed to SquidGrow. I'm a part of the SquidGrow team. We're going around to NFT, NYC, Consensus down in Austin. I'm going to public events. And there's nobody else on the project who can have any bad access. We're locking liquidity. We're auditing the contracts. I'm not going to leave any room for an heir to come in and ruin such an amazing opportunity. But we remove bad actors. That for one, that's the number one reason why projects aren't growing. It's because people are just starting projects to put themselves at the top, to give themselves the control, and to put themselves at the top of the pyramid scheme in order to benefit on all the suckers who buy into this narrative after it. That's what's going on in DeFi. 99% of it is. But even if you remove, that's why a lot of people think, oh, let's remove these bad actors and let's just give the project to the community and it'll do well. It's like, that's the right direction, but it doesn't solve it because you're still building a project on top of a liquidity pool, which is a pyramid scheme. What that means is even if you remove all bad actors, the people who buy first, if they manage to get other people to buy in, they're going to have all the power over the price, and the price controls the sentiment, and the sentiment controls how long the project lives, whether it's able to grow or die. All the power and control and rewards are being given to the people at the top, and they control the future of the project, and the liquidity pool is incentivizing them and rewarding them for destroying the project. Like, I've never heard anybody say this, but I know it for a fact. It's not like this is opinion at all. This is the reality of what's going on. And I know that anybody hears this is going to be like, yeah, this is what's happening in DeFi. And so what I'm saying is stop trying to build projects on top of liquidity pools that don't have serious utilities or a real business plan that actually generate revenue, which is very rare. That's not easy. And why would somebody create that and share that with thousands of people when they could just keep that for themselves? Why would they be doing that? Well, because it's easier to convince people to buy an idea than it is to actually create something that generates revenue. Otherwise, they would just create something that generates revenue and not share that with thousands of people. So the solution is you have to balance the liquidity pool before you build on top of it. How do you do that? The liquidity pool, it takes in value and it gives out value. Well, through the use of attacks, through the use of tokenomics, the thing that I was studying for the years that I was in crypto, that's what I would focus on every day. You can utilize that to take where the real power is. And I've talked about this. The real power in why a project does well is in the community. It's in the people. The real power of why a country does well or a corporation or anything is always going to be in the power of the people. They're trying to convince you in DeFi that it's in a utility or in a partnership or something in the future. It's not. It's in people believing an idea. That's where the power is. That's why we talk about the opportunity. This is where Safemoon exploded right here. It had the most explosion at the early days because people know that that's the most likely time for a project to explode and that it is very less likely to happen later on. The J curve is very unlikely. And where that leaves you is that you know that the real power is in people believing an idea. It's the movement on the charts. Every time this movement is up, none of this was utility. None of this was profit from utility. None of this was partnerships. This was all people believing an idea and buying. Do you realize that's where the power is at? And so by utilizing that, the power that people seeking, that value that everybody's shifting into the liquidity pool, attacks, we can take that. We can take that power, we can take the most powerful reason of why a project grows, and we can shift it into the future and preserve it so it can't go down, so that we can preserve the life of the project, which will incentivize growth, allow for more volume, and allow for us to be more confident or have the sentiment, which is directly connected to how the price operates, be more bullish and feel more safe and confident in the future growth of the project, even as other people leave, because we have positives when people sell. A taxless token, there is not a single positive thing when somebody sells. When somebody sells in this project, they have to forfeit all their stablecoin rewards to you. If they're a whale, it's a lot. And they have to pay 20% to those rewards. If they're a whale, that's a lot. 20% of all sales that ever happen with a structure like this will be going into the future to the people that are left. The people that were left in Safemoon, you were screwed. The rewards you got were devalued by the whales, and you were left with nothing but bags that ended up being halted in trading with the CEO on trial for fraud. You got screwed hard by that structure. With a structure like this in place, by converting it to stablecoin, we are naturally giving to other people. More people are winning than just the sellers. That's already an amazing thing. By giving it to only stakers, we increase those rewards. Safemoon was giving reflections to every single wallet that was eligible to receive reflections. By only giving it to stakers, everybody who doesn't stake forfeits their rewards to everybody who is staking. That greatly increases your rewards by everybody who doesn't stake. By delaying those rewards, everybody who leaves the project, they forfeit all of their rewards to everybody who's left. That greatly increases the rewards, and they pay into those rewards. There's actually more that I could say that makes this even better, but I don't want to overcomplicate this message right now, and I do want to keep this kind of short for anybody who might watch this. But this is the reality of what happened with Safemoon, the reality of what's happening with all projects in DeFi, of why they're not working. It's because of how the liquidity pool works. It's because of bad actors, and because all the control and rewards are being given to only the people at the top who sell. And by changing and balancing the negative incentives of the liquidity pool, by incentivizing the future, by rewarding the future with real value, it can't be small. It's got to be a lot. It can't be a 1% tax, a 2% tax, a 5%. We got to counter 80% of the value going into the liquidity pool. And so 15 and 20, I believe, is right around the line where it doesn't feel too heavily taxed, but it's still enough to actually be impactful and rewarding. So we have a higher tax than Safemoon or Evergrow going towards these stablecoin rewards that are increased by the fact that it only goes to the stakers. They're increased by the fact that it's an appreciating stablecoin. They're increased by the fact that everybody who leaves forfeits them, and they're increased by the fact that everybody who leaves sells and increases them. We're shifting a ton of value to the people who deserve it most, and in a way that incentivizes the project to continue on with higher volume and higher growth. We incentivize higher volume and higher growth. There is about two other things on top of this that are take it to the next level, and I guess I'll try to say it real quickly. One of those things is that we have a third pool, a special pool for whales only. In that pool, 1% of all volume, they get their own 1% of all volume. Means if we hit 100 million in volume, 1 million goes to the whale pool, and they all get that in stablecoin, and they all get to share that. There's an unstaking fee that everybody pays to unstake. If you go in and you try to get rewards and you try to unstake real fast, well, we don't want people to abuse the system. Otherwise, the system becomes pointless. There's no point to it if people can just abuse the rewards. We want to actually reward the people who committed and who stayed and got it. If you try to come in, buy, sell, then you're going to hurt yourself. It's going to cost you. So 30% unstaking fee, and that might have to be increased and adjusted a little bit. I don't really want to go much higher, but we might have to change it a little bit. 30% unstaking fee. If you unstake out of the 1 month, the 6 month, or the 12 month, if you unstake early, if you fulfill your time, there is no unstaking fee. But if you try to stake in the 12 month, get your 12 month rewards, and then unstake and then sell, well, no, that's not going to work. You're going to have to pay for that. So everything is by design to help the growth of the project and to benefit more people than the people that are destroying the project, quite simply. The whale thing takes this to the next level. It's something that I've been thinking about for years. What the whale thing does, if Safemoon had had something like this in place, the whales would have been way more confident in holding and in buying and in growing the project. So when you enter that whale pool, you get your 1 month rewards, you get your 6 month rewards, you get your 12 month rewards, all in stablecoin. And you're a whale, so you're going to be getting the most of whatever that is. But on top of that, we're adding a 1%. Why are we adding to the whales if they're the ones we're trying to pull value away from? Because we're creating a place for the whales to come together and unite over the future growth of the project. If whales enter into the whale staking pool, they get all those rewards plus the 1%. If they unstake, they pay 30% if they unstake early. You have to commit to a year to get the whale pool rewards. If in order to get those rewards, so for every whale that doesn't stake, they forfeit. These are pretty big rewards, right? Depending on how the volume goes. Every whale who doesn't stake in the whale pool, they forfeit their whale rewards to the other whales. So it creates this real incentive for whales to be in this. But as whales come into it, they know that the other whales who leave, 20% of whatever's being unstaked out of the whale pool is going to go to all the whales at the 12-month event, which means that, like I said earlier, if you have whales leaving the whale pool, say $20 million leaves the whale pool, and they unstake, 4 million of that is preserved value that cannot go down, that is going towards the 12-month rewards to the whales, on top of the 1%, on top of the 12-month rewards and the 6-month rewards and the 1-month rewards. It's a way to shift a ton of value, and the reason that we're doing that is because the whales control the future of the project. It's not the team, and it's not the community. Safemoon demonstrated it's not the team, it's not the community. What controls the price is the whales. The liquidity pool gave them all the power. They control it. When they sell, it goes down. When they hold, it goes up. The power of the future of the project is in the hands of a few people because the liquidity pool by design gives them that power. And so what we want to do is we want to focus in on them with a whale pool, decide what amount of tokens is a whale, and then give them the opportunity. They don't have to do it if they don't want to do it, but they're missing out on value if they don't, to stake into the whale pool. And so as whales, you can actually work together. The entire idea of all of this is to unite us and not be divided in the liquidity pool, to be united in the future growth of the project, to be united in the growth of the price. You can be united in the price. There's nothing wrong with that. You're still going to be divided in the selling, but to be united in the rewards, everybody can be united in that. That's something that's going to all of us that are staking. So we can all really be united in that. And the whales, the most important people in the terms of who controls the price, which is the sentiment and lifeblood of the project, we have an extra measure where all the whales are going to be more rewarded for committing to this longer period of time of staking. They can still unstake and sell at any point if they want, but a lot of that value is going back. So if you're in this whale pool and you have 10, 100 other whales, I don't know what there will be. It'll probably be not 100. It'll probably be less than 100. All these other whales, and you know that when they leave, they forfeited their rewards to you. They paid into those rewards, and 20% of their sell is going back to this whale pool. and it's going to build up for the 12-month rewards, and that can end up being a ton of value. So let's just say that you get to the rewards. Let's say that $20 million was sold out of the whale pool. You watched all your friends leave and take all that value out of the price, but you made it to the 12-month rewards. This is a hypothetical. For one, the rewards are going to be insane. The 12-month rewards, 6 to 7% of all that volume building up for an entire year, plus the second 6-month rewards, which is 4% built up for the last 6 months, plus the last month rewards, which is 2% of all volume, plus the whale rewards, which is the 1% of all volume, plus everybody who unstaked out of the unstaking pools, the regular ones, paid 10% of that is converted to stablecoin into the whale pool. And then everybody who left the whale pool, 20% of that goes to the whale pool. And then after you get all of that, whatever that is, you can decide to sell. You've fulfilled your year commitment. If you staked at the very beginning, you got the control event. Immediately after, you'd be able to not have an unstaking fee and sell your bag if you wanted to, if you chose to. The amount of value that we're shifting into the future allows for the community and even the whales to work and feel confident in the future growth of the project instead of worrying about a pump and dump. It allows them to be more confident in buying a dip when a dump does happen, because a dip's always seen as a buying opportunity, but it's really not. It's only a buying opportunity if a bunch of people buy. With this, it's literally mathematically a buying opportunity, because you know that those red candles, 20% of all the red candles in Control Token are going towards stablecoin rewards. If a $100,000 sales happens, 20,000 of that went towards the monthly, the 6-month, and the 12-month rewards. And that person who left forfeited the rewards that they would have gotten out of all of that. And so the more you buy and the more you stake, the more of those rewards you're going to get. I don't think that there is a better tokenomics project created than this. This has tens to hundreds of hours of thought put into designing this. This wasn't something that was come up with just overnight and whatever, and I just want to make a project. And I only did this because I watched DeFi and I watched projects come out where they tried to remove the bad actors and give all the power back to the community. And I'm like, it's just going to go to the pyramid scheme, and the pyramid scheme's going to incentivize them to dump on you guys. It's only going to last as long as the whales allow it to. And the whales who don't take profits are going to be punished for it. The people who destroy the project are going to be rewarded. And I'm like, I have this in my pocket. I have this idea to balance the number one problem of what's happening in DeFi, to give people the exciting event that they want to look forward to create a community that can actually come together in the future rewards. I have this amazing idea. It's not stupid. I told you I had multiple aces up my sleeve. I was not kidding. And I'm not even done yet. If everybody's getting appreciating stablecoin rewards, when you sell XUSD, it increases the price. Our contract will be buying and selling XUSD potentially on very large amounts, which will be permanently increasing your rewards. Your rewards in the future can't go down, and the value of them can't go down. And not just that, the rewards in the future can only go up. Whether buys or sells are happening, it's volume that's feeding those rewards. Sells fuel these rewards even more because it's a greater tax on the sell. So sells actually have a greater impact on the future than buys. And then on top of that, we have a utility delayed appreciating stablecoin, which means that there's going to be utility that's fueling these rewards. What that means is that if you have $100,000, if we convert it to stablecoin, it's going to be right around $100,000. That's awesome. It doesn't go down, but it doesn't go up. If you did it in the token, it's very likely to go down once the whales sell, because they're incentivized to because of the liquidity pool, right? But if you do appreciating stablecoin, if it goes from $1 to $1.10, your $100,000 just went to $110,000. If it goes from $1 to $1.50, your $100,000 just went to $150,000. If you're holding $1 million in stablecoin and it goes from $1 to $2, you just now got $2 million. I don't think that I'm properly communicating how good this is in comparison to the rest of DeFi, in comparison to Safemoon. And Evergrow is amazing and great, but even in comparison to Evergrow, that's not a shot at what they are right now, because they're completely something different. They're not even what they were when they started. But even in comparison to Evergrow, after Evergrow gave out all that stablecoin rewards and the sell-off happened, there was no value in the future to look forward to or incentivize the growth of the project unless utilities produced it. And utilities are not easy because of devs, because of making sure they work, and then you have to do marketing, and then you have to get a bunch of people to use them, and then you have to produce enough value, and then you have to give that value back to your... And that can work. That's how a project ideally should be ran, but it's very hard to do something like that. Even with an honest team with a good amount of funding, that is not easy. Otherwise, other projects would have blown up by now. There's projects that have hundreds of millions of dollars in marketing, and it's hard to get that to affect the price. But what's easy to get to the price is when people believe in an idea. And so if you give people a realistic idea that they can be confident in the future growth of the project, then yes, I do think that I have a solution to everything that's going on in DeFi. It's not I just want to do a project. It's like, how can I continue to watch what's happening in DeFi while I have this up my sleeve? How can I have all these projects come to me and say, hey, we've got this amazing idea, and it's going to be this meme coin, and it's going to be this utility, and I'm like, how is this going to affect the investors, and how is this going to benefit more than just the people at the top? Well, we don't know. Cool. Well, like, I can talk about your project, I can tell what your vision is, but in the back of my mind, I've had control token. I didn't know what I was going to call it, but I've had that for years. And I could have launched this when I was getting 10,000, 40,000 views a video. I could have launched this while Safemoon Army loved me, and they would have came into it. Now there's some changes that I've made to it since back then that are even better. So there's a sense in which it's much better that I didn't do it, because I feel like this is almost the perfect version of what it was that I was seeking out to make. Something that benefits more than just the people at the top, something that distributes wealth more fairly, something that incentivizes growth, that creates something real and exciting to look forward to. We have all of that built into this contract. But I had a much bigger following back then. I could make a Safemoon video and say, hey guys, I'm also doing my project, and people would have loved it. They would have jumped into it. I would have gotten some resistance, but a lot of people would have followed me from my videos into that. Now I can barely pull 20 viewers in a live stream, and that's okay, talking about Safemoon, because Safemoon's died, and that's why people watched me. However, the success of this project is not dependent on marketing, partnerships, utilities. If the idea works, then the worst marketing could be done, and this thing will grow. Because if people are coming in and they're buying and they're holding and the price is moving up at the most important time for the price to move up, which is the beginning, like, this is the easiest. That's what I'm telling my holders right now. I was like, guys, the beginning is the most crucial, essential, easiest time for us to grow. I have to be careful how I talk about the price, but obviously that's what I'm talking about. It's the most exciting time. It's the easiest time. If the idea works, and it does. I know the idea works, but it's how will the people coming into it react to it? When you go to sell in control token, or when you sell in a taxless token, you know that the only thing that you might miss out on is the price might go up. When you go to sell in control token, you're like, I'm forfeiting rewards that can only go up. I'm forfeiting all my 6-month, all my 12-month rewards. Those can only go up. And I'm going to pay a tax into those on the way out. And I'm leaving a community who's super bullish about the future of the project, that's shifting real value into the future of the project. If this idea works, then I'm not exaggerating. If this idea works, I do think everybody will know what control token is. Because if the idea works, then it'll allow for the highest tax reward project to have the most volume over a longer period of time, leading to the most growth that you potentially have ever seen in DeFi. That's the reality of this design. If it's all about sentiment and it's all about belief, and there's actual value that you have to leave behind when you go to sell, other than just the potential of the price moving up, it will create a situation potentially that will explode like you've never seen before. I don't believe that's guaranteed, but I believe that it is heavily incentivized. The potential is strongly there in my perspective, because I think there is a massive market for people that got burned. They're getting rugged and dumped on and all of these things. You can resonate with what it is that I'm saying. Nobody's talking about the pyramid structure of the liquidity pool. Why would they tell you that? Why would they tell you about the pyramid structure of the liquidity pool? We all kind of understand it. The people at the top, the whales, that's why everybody wants to be early. That's why projects can grow the most in the earliest time, is because people feel like they're early in something. After a dump happens, they feel like it's dead and over, because that's the pattern they've seen a million times in DeFi. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I'm going to finish the comments if there is any more. How much do people usually invest to be a whale? It just depends on how much everybody else invested. Right now, if you put, I'm not going to say, this isn't advice, but I'm saying if you want to be a whale in comparison to everybody else, it's probably thousands. It's probably 3, 5, 10 grand that would put you above most of the holders we have in the pre-sale right now. If that's your goal, nothing's stopping you from doing that. Anyways, guys, I'm going to end this here. I hope you understand the reality, the significance, the importance of what I'm saying, that I'm not just, hey guys, this is my project and you should do my project because I want to make money. It's like, no, I think I have the solution to everything that's wrong with DeFi. I have the solution that everybody's seeking in DeFi. There is a massive market of people who want something that's safe, that grows over a long time. That's why Safemoon was so selling. It's like, oh, it's safe and it's going to the moon. That's what people want. Something that's safe is going to the moon. You remove bad actors, you shift value into the future, you create a project where people can be confident, and the sentiment of the whales and the early and everybody can be confident about the future. And I want to benefit not just the people at the top, but everybody else. And I want even the people who are coming in super late to have these opportunities to get that value. If we have a massive sell-off, then people can come in super late and they could buy, say, here. Well, all these rewards of all of this volume that's happening, now you can just buy up. You could put in a good amount and get all those rewards. It actually is real buying opportunities because the rewards in the future permanently move up. Sells become increasingly more buying opportunities. And the more that we allow for FOMO to feel natural and to not be weighed down by the fear of selling, the more we're going to be able to grow to heights leagues above the rest of crypto if the idea works. That's why I say if this idea works, it doesn't matter how bad our marketing is or any of that. If the idea works, it'll work and the price will do well. And if we take off and do really well, we've secure for ourselves by 13% of all buys, by 18% of all sells, we secure ourselves a permanent future that cannot go down, that leaves the rest of the people to look forward to. And this leaves you in a morally better position. Think of all the people of Safemoon who got their family to sell their cars or to take out their life savings because they were really convinced and really believed this thing's going to the moon, to the point of convincing their friends and family to make bad decisions and to look like a fool and to hurt other people because you negatively impacted them. If Safemoon had done something like this, there would have at least been so much real value. All the whales who left, who sold millions of dollars, would have been leaving millions of dollars behind. They would have been paying into that, and you would have been able to be significantly impacted by that. This is where I say that by doing staking, we drastically increase the amount of rewards for even the smallest holder, because everybody who doesn't stake immediately increases rewards, meaning because our tax is way higher than Safemoon, the rewards are already better for you. But another thing is, even if every single wallet staked to get those rewards, the rewards would still be better than what Safemoon's reflections were, which could be even for the smallest holder. But the likelihood is that everybody's not going to stake, which means that your rewards are going to be way better than even if everybody was staking. And then the fact that the people that are leaving the project are giving up their rewards, that increases those rewards drastically. And then the fact that it's an appreciating stablecoin, that increases the rewards drastically. And then the fact that this incentivizes volume and growth, that increases the rewards drastically. We are shifting and balancing the value of the future rewards with the liquidity pool in a way that creates a lot. It's giving everybody what they want. This is what people want in DeFi. It's what I want in DeFi. I want something safe, long-term, that benefits more than just the people at the top, that gives us something real to work towards. That's what I want, and that's what I've created. And so I really hope that this project does what I aim to do, which is to help people do well and to kind of set an example or send a message to the rest of DeFi of like, hey guys, liquidity pool is a serious problem, and you might want to adopt some of what it is that we're doing over at Control Token. You might want to build meme tokens on this idea. You might want to build projects on this idea, because what we can do is, if we do well, I don't want people's hope to be in a utility, but if we do well and we have the right utility, we can add that on top of this system. The system will naturally feed itself, but you start adding utilities or partnerships. You know, Safemoon had those swap listings. People would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to Safemoon, and then they'd get promoted to Safemoon, and then the charts would dump and the Safemoon holders would lose. If we have opportunities like that, you're going to find that if someone pays $100,000, there's a good chance that most of that's going towards the monthly rewards, or it'll go towards the month, the 6 month, and the 12 month. So instead of benefiting as much as possible off the people at the bottom, which is how Safemoon was designed, from Kyle to how John was using it to all of that, John could have taken millions of dollars in stablecoin and put it into a staking pool and allowed the Safemoon holders to stake and get that money, and it would have helped allow for the price to go up. It would have helped allow for more volume. He just didn't think about the Safemoon holders at all. He didn't care about the Safemoon holders. Otherwise, he would have done stuff like that. He talked about bleeding Safemoon. He only had his idea of what Safemoon was, and his idea was that as long as he kept the Safemoon army satisfied with an idea, that he had done his job. What you'll find with us is Not do we just have a setup that's better than all of DeFi. I really do believe this structure is better than all of DeFi because it's a realistic approach to why projects work and why they don't work, and it's capitalizing on why they work, and it's addressing the problems of why they don't work in a way that provides an exciting thing to look forward to. And so I do believe that this project sets itself apart from the rest of DeFi. And I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I have a lot more content on Control Token. I'm doing spaces every night. If you guys want to join the spaces, it's Twitter. Follow me at CryptoControl3. Probably be doing that around 7 to 8 p.m. We'll be doing that. But we also do spaces every Sunday. We do an AMA. You can join those spaces and do the AMA. And I'll be putting out content. Be putting out vlog videos of me talking to the camera because it's just so much more personable and feels a lot more real when I'm talking to the camera. And after this amazing setup that we have, if the opportunity comes to add utilities, partnerships, utilize the power of the community to benefit the community, we're going to use that. We get $100,000 to do some kind of promotion to come to one of our spaces or something, or to do a video. That's going to go to rewards. That's going to go right back to the community. We're not going to, oh, cool, that's for us and we can spend that on whatever. Like, no, we're not going to do that. So on top of everything amazing that we have, the final keys to this working, I feel like it might work even if we don't do this, but I think the final keys is going to, instead of trying to get everybody to think we're going to the moon, and if anything sounds negative, then don't believe it because you don't want to think about it. It's going to be like, no, we're going to approach this realistically and optimistically. We're not going to, if something's wrong, if there's a sell-off, we're not going to lie about things. We're going to be honest about them, but we're also going to realize that we as a community can overcome them. And so a community is a very powerful thing if they're being led by somebody who's honest, that actually has their good interest in mind. Obviously, you could get into politics and realize that most of our politicians are taxing us to death and using those taxes to benefit themselves at our cost of our food, our health, our living, our land, and our money. And so that system of control and of wealth and of distribution and of power, it's the same thing with governments, or whether it's the financial system or whether it's in crypto. And so it's just kind of this reoccurring pattern of control. And so the entire point of Control Token is to take control away from those people and to create a system that's more fair for everybody else, that benefits more than just the people at the top. Anyways, guys, Tommy OC, thank you, CC. I look forward to the next space. Awesome, man. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you tonight. It could have arrogance and greed are a mug. Jeffrey says Safemoon tax had to be lowered down to a level to be competitive with MasterCard and Visa because you use a CC. Their credit card, there's a used tax on it. Safemoon lowered it because MasterCard was now partnered with Safemoon. There wasn't going to. Here's the thing: is Safemoon was sold on reflections. Oh, 5% of all volume. And then you lower that volume, and now it's completely insignificant. We'd need trillions of dollars of volume for that to be useful, and that wasn't going to happen. And so a lot of tax projects will start with a high tax and then lower it because they realize nobody are less likely to day trade, which we're not targeting day traders. But because we're taking that tax and we're shifting into the future, we are incentivizing more volume. That's the best part about this, is if you give out that volume right away, then there's nothing to look forward to if that volume stops after the whales sell. But if you take all that volume, the tax from the volume, and you just preserve it, shift it into the future, it incentivizes more price growth and more rewards. I'm not saying it guarantees it, but it rewards it and incentivizes it. Anyways, guys, thanks for stopping by. Truth Hurts, True Dukel, Jeffrey, Tommy OC. I'll see you guys in the space tonight, and share this. Get this out to the Safemoon Army. Like this video, comment on it, because I'm trying to give people that opportunity. Hey, Control Token pre-sale is only going to last a couple more weeks. If you want to do it, now's your chance. If you don't, you want to wait and see how it goes, it's up to you. I'm not trying to tell you to do it or not do it. I'm trying to give you the opportunity, just like I did with Evergrow. Evergrow did amazing. People that followed me into Evergrow made tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, plus they got their stablecoin rewards. And I believe that this structure is much better than Evergrow was in its origin. That's not a shot at Sam or Paul. They didn't create the project. That's just the reality. And I was kind of part of the project as well. And I talked about that project before I used Safemoon to talk about Evergrow, and I brought a lot of people from Safemoon into Evergrow, and they did well. I'm trying to use Safemoon and Evergrow to say, hey guys, not trying to get you into something bad, but look at this. Just look at it, understand it, and then decide for yourself if you like it, if it's risky, if the tax is too high, if you think the rewards take too long, whatever it is, make your decision. I'm not trying to persuade you, but I want you to at least understand it so that you can decide for yourself, so that later on you can say, nobody's going to be able to say to me on Safemoon, Evergrow, anybody can say to me, my family, I'll say, hey, I told you about it. I told you about it. I let you decide. It's on you. That pressure is not going to be on me. That's my goal in crypto. Give early warnings of good and bad things. This is my early warning on what I believe is the best tokenomics project ever created, and not just the best tokenomics project, but one of the best crypto projects ever created, because it's addressing the problem that's happening across the board in DeFi when it comes to whale dominance, bad actors, and not having any value in the future that's significant to actually look forward to. Joseph Marshall, good to see you in the comments, man. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I will see you guys in the next live stream. You guys have a great day.